Imagine two powerful nations, locked in a shadow war across borders, proxies, and cyberspace. One calls the other a Zionist regime that must be erased. The other responds with airstrikes, cyberattacks, and global lobbying. But how did it get this bad? Why are Iran and Israel one wrong move away from all-out war? Today, we unravel a century of secrets, revolutions, and betrayals. Because understanding the story means understanding one of the most dangerous flashpoints in our world today. Tensions between Iran and Israel have escalated dramatically in 2024 and 2025. From airstrikes in Syria to attacks on oil tankers and embassies, their Cold War is heating up fast. But this isn't a new rivalry. It's rooted in a century of political shifts, religious ideologies, and power struggles across the Middle East. Let's go back to where it all began. Before the revolution, Iran and Israel were friends. Surprised? Yes, Iran and Israel were once allies. In the 1950–70, under the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, Iran was a secular monarchy and a close ally of both the US and Israel. Israel sold Iran weapons. Iranian oil flowed to Tel Aviv. Mossad and Savak, Iran's intelligence agency, shared intelligence. Iran even quietly supported Kurdish groups in Iraq alongside Israel to weaken Saddam Hussein. But beneath this cooperation was a growing unrest, both political and religious. With the Islamic Revolution, friendship ends. Everything changed in 1979. Iran's Islamic Revolution overthrew the Shah, replacing his pro-Western monarchy with a theocratic regime led by Ayatollah Khomeini. Khomeini called Israel an illegitimate state, labeling it a puppet of the US. He severed all ties, and Iran's new government adopted a hardline anti-Zionist stance. This was not just political, it was ideological. To the Islamic Republic, Israel's existence was a religious affront, and supporting Palestinian liberation became part of Iran's foreign policy identity. With direct war unlikely, both sides turned to proxies. Iran funded and armed Hezbollah in Lebanon, a group that calls for Israel's destruction. Hezbollah launched attacks against Israel in the 1990s and 2000s, including the deadly 2006 war. In return, Israel launched airstrikes in Lebanon and began targeting Iranian military assets in Syria. Iran also backs Hamas in Gaza and Shia militias in Iraq and Yemen. This regional network, known as the Axis of Resistance, is how Iran pushes back without a direct war. In 2010, a mysterious computer worm called Stuxnet destroyed centrifuges in Iran's nuclear facilities. It was later revealed to be a joint US-Israeli cyber operation. Since then, Israel has ramped up assassinations of Iranian nuclear scientists, airstrikes on convoys in Syria, and intelligence leaks about Iran's secret weapons programs. Iran, meanwhile, has accelerated its uranium enrichment, built new drone programs, and attacked oil tankers and infrastructure in Israel-linked regions. Israel sees a nuclear-armed Iran as an existential threat. Iran insists its program is peaceful, but years of IAEA inspections, secret facilities, and uranium stockpiles have raised fears. The 2015 Iran nuclear deal, JCPOA, was supposed to defuse the crisis, but in 2018, the US pulled out under Trump, and Iran resumed enrichment. Israel lobbied hard against the deal, believing it only delayed Iran's ambitions. Talks to revive the deal have stalled, and the threat of a military strike is once again on the table. Why things are exploding now? In 2024, Israel intensified airstrikes on Iranian targets in Syria. Iran retaliated by activating Hezbollah cells and launching drone attacks. Meanwhile, US bases in Iraq and Syria were also attacked by Iranian-backed militias. The situation escalated when Iran blamed Israel for an attack on its consulate in Damascus, and Israeli embassies faced threats globally. Add to this Iran's growing alliance with Russia and China, and Israel's deeper ties with Gulf states like UAE and Saudi Arabia, and the region is a powder keg. The real danger is a global flashpoint. This is more than just two countries at odds. It's a global standoff involving nuclear ambitions, regional alliances, religious ideology, and deep historical scars. The Iran-Israel conflict could spark a wider Middle East war, draw in the US, and destabilize global oil markets. This is why the world is watching every drone strike, every nuclear announcement, every proxy attack. Why it matters. Iran and Israel are more than rivals. They are symbols of two opposing worldviews. Their conflict shapes the politics of the Middle East, influences global security, and reminds us how history and ideology can set nations on a collision course. Stay informed, because understanding this conflict is the first step to understanding the future of our world.